Hello, esteemed dear viewers. We want to activate a GRE type IT tunnel here using tunnel 624 and learn how to configure it. On the tab side, you can see router 34, which is our VPN and is currently located outside the country. This right-hand router is the one we are configuring for your home or any organization that you want to connect 2 points simultaneously. Router 34, our VPN, is abroad. Configure it to connect 2 points. Our VPN is located outside the country. The right-hand router is for configuring your home or organization to connect 2 points. We'll tunnel data like web or file sharing. Let's start configuring. First, go to the interface section and set up tunnel 624 with the static IPs. Open the interface, add a new tunnel, and select the 6 to 4 option. Name it for easy identification, like router 1 and router 2. We will be tunneling data, web data, file sharing, or other data. Let's move on to the configuration. First, we should go to the interface section and set up a 6 to 4 tunnel with the 2 static IPs. Let's open the interface. Here, we should click to add a new tunnel and select the 6 to 4 option. We can name it. You can name it as you like router 1 and router 2 for easy identification. We'll set it up here with the address 32.7.7. And for the remote address, enter the static IP address. After that, we can apply the settings here. Here we need to click to add and select the 6 to 4 panel on the first router. The difference we need to make is that we can give it a name. You can name it whatever you think is appropriate, like router 1 and router 2 for easy identification. We'll set it up here as 32.7.7, and for the remote address we need to enter the static IP address. After that we can apply the settings here, and you can choose an MTU of 1580. So, for the address 32.7.7, we need to place the static IP address in the remote address field. A static IP address is a fixed address that does not change, which is crucial for certain network configurations. By placing it in the remote address field, we ensure that the device can be consistently reached at the same address. After this, it is important to apply the settings here to ensure that the changes take effect and the network operates smoothly without any interruptions or connectivity issues. And you can choose an MTU of 1580. At the same time, you need to do the same for our second router. In the interface menu, you select the Add option. You choose the Safford-Dermaid panel, and here we can always give it a name or label. We need to make sure, don't forget, you can easily and quickly find it again in the remote address. We simply and efficiently enter the IP address for the other side, and this router will set it up again. Let's configure the settings and wait just a moment for the project to run. Now, let's focus a little bit on the online router, which is connected to the network. We don't have much to do with this one. To establish the channels, you need to set the IP address. All of them are from the same model, which is what we're going to do here. For example, we want to set the IP address. That is active. Now we need to configure it. To get an IP address, you definitely need to access the router. The best way is to enter it here in your browser. To get an IP address, you need to access router. The best way is to enter it in browser. We need to get the IP address. The best way is to enter it here in your browser, for example. We need to get the IP address of the server as soon as possible, immediately. This leg is moving. Open the first site you can find for that word. The idea is that you can generate random IP addresses for all of them. For example, 5, 7, 10 IPs, however many you need. We don't have to do anything complicated with it. One of the most important things to remember is to choose random IP addresses. For example, we copy this IP address. If we copy it, we go to the first option. In our first router, we need to assign an IP address as well. If we now switch from this router. In our first router, we need to assign a virtual IP address as well. If we switch from this router now, the address we want to set must be the virtual IP on the opposite router. For this, we keep the last part in the number. If possible, we need to configure the last part. And after the 2 dots, because we want the router opposite this, you set the union to 2 and keep the number 2. We can set the panel, for example, to have 15 columns. We understand that this is the way to configure it. We can name it something that corresponds to the transport protocol. This panel will be set up and we will configure it accordingly. The router in front of us comes again and you select the UIP section. And here you set it up again. And here you enter the same address for the remote router again. After you clean up the last one, you definitely need to put an ID panel right here. You then hit apply. But look, the tunnels are still not running as expected. The reason for this issue is that we need to thoroughly check the IP settings in the addresses section. We need to plug this in for you. So we need to drift this IP address. Now our IP address is this one. Let's use the same one for the router. Right now our IP address is this one. Let's use the same one for the router. Let's see, we hit add here again. Here we simply copy this. This is the address now. Adjust channel for 6 to 4. Connect and apply. Tunnel isn't running yet. Check address, apply, and enter address. Find what you want, which is the 6 to 4 that we set up here named 6 to 4. You hit apply. But again, the same thing happens. The tunnel is still not running. This will work when these two are running. Let's check the address again. We hit apply. And then we finish here. Now we enter the address that we created and generated. We select the interface for the same, 6 to 4, and hit apply. We enter the address and select the interface, then hit apply. Everything should ideally be running. We click on the interface for the 6 to 4 and hit apply. Now, the time that we have, for example, everything should ideally be running. You see, this one is running. And this one should be running too. You need to wait until you see that it's running now. Now this tunnel is between one server, but now there are routers in each region for each group. Now it will be broken. And now we can go to 2 IP addresses, one to manage the tunnel and the second server, and we can establish a connection between them. Now we will do this so that we know how to proceed. We're closing this because we don't need to deal with these. We close so that you don't have to do anything. Set IP ping 172.15.21.172. We set the ping, for example, to 172.15.21.172 and 15.19.21.1. Now let's check this IP. Health to you all and health to you. A month ago in Ipira. Let's set this up on router 1, but we need to have the ping for this now. Let's make sure we set up the tunnel connection, but we haven't assigned IPs to both ends of the tunnel yet. So here we come to use the address and hit add. And we set this IP 172.13.31.13 for you. And these two should connect to that tunnel you created. We need to do the same thing on this side, which means it will also be 172.13.31.13. Ping and program setup. 2 channels connected. Ping between these two should come back. You should have the ping and the second program set up correctly. We've established 2 channels that are connected, so direct views to other locations. We recorded this to help configure the tunnel smoothly. You should also be correct in your plan. Based on this, we have 2 channels now. What you have established is now related to common. You can see the rest of the map. Well, we recorded this very quickly today so that you can easily configure the tunnel and make it work smoothly.